Welcome to the Global WarWatch Network. We've got a really sobering story for you today from the front lines. A Chinese-made rocket launcher just blew up on the battlefield, and the worst part, it killed its own crew. This whole incident is raising some huge questions about the reliability of military hardware that's been sold all over the world. To really get the full context on stories like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. All right, let's break down what we know.
So what we're looking at here is a catastrophic malfunction, plain and simple. It happened right in the middle of the border war between Cambodia and Thailand. A rocket system being used by Cambodian forces just failed, and the results were absolutely devastating. The entire crew was killed in the explosion, and because this whole thing was caught on camera, it's sending some serious shockwaves through military and defense circles right now.
And the human cost? Well, it was immediate, and it was tragic. 8 soldiers. 8 Cambodian soldiers, the very people supposed to be operating this thing, were killed instantly. Just imagine, what was supposed to be a routine firing mission turned into an absolute nightmare for those guys on the ground.
So the big question is, what on earth went wrong here? To really get a handle on the implications, we've got to look at the specifics of this battlefield catastrophe.
Okay, so here's what we know. The whole thing went down in that disputed border region between Cambodia and Thailand, right in the middle of some heavy artillery exchanges. Now, pretty much everything we know about this comes from frontline combat footage that started making the rounds among defense analysts almost immediately. And that video? It makes it pretty clear this wasn't an enemy attack. It points directly to a massive, catastrophic failure inside the launch mechanism itself. And for their part, the Cambodian military, well, so far they haven't said a word, just official silence.
Now, for anyone who might not be familiar with this type of weapon, we're talking about a multiple launch rocket system, or MLRS for short. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's a truck that can fire a whole bunch of rockets, one after another, in just a matter of seconds. I mean, it's designed to just completely saturate a target area with explosives. It's a real cornerstone piece of equipment for pretty much any modern army out there. But here's the thing. This horrible malfunction didn't just happen in a vacuum. It's a single, absolutely brutal moment, but it's part of a much bigger and much more violent conflict. To really understand why this matters so much, we need to zoom out and look at the war that's raging in the background.
This border dispute has been simmering for ages, but in the middle of 2025, it just boiled over into open war. They managed to broker a ceasefire, but it was fragile, and by December, it had totally collapsed. And ever since then, things have just gotten worse and worse. We're not talking about small skirmishes anymore. This has escalated to full-scale battles with heavy artillery, massive rocket salvos, and even airstrike.
And what's really interesting about this conflict is the stark difference in military tech. On one side, you have Cambodia, and their military is mostly equipped with Chinese and older Soviet-designed gear. And they're fighting Thailand, which is using more modern, Western-supplied stuff, including F-16 fighter jets. So right there, Thailand has a huge advantage in the air. That makes Cambodia's ground-based rocket artillery, like the one that just exploded, absolutely critical for them. It's their main equalizer.
So, since Cambodia is leaning so heavily on this stuff, let's take a closer look at exactly what Chinese rocket systems we're talking about. What's actually in their arsenal? And as you can see, they've really invested a lot of money here. Their main workhorse is the PHL-81. They've got around 100 of those. Then they've got about 25 of an upgraded version, the PHL-90B. But here's the really crucial part. They also have 6 units of the PHL-03. This is their big stick, a long-range system that can hit valuable targets way behind enemy lines. I mean, this stuff is literally the backbone of their army's firepower. Okay, so all of this brings us back to the single most important question that this whole incident raises. Was this just a tragic freak accident, a one-off? Or is this a sign of a much bigger, much more worrying problem with Chinese military hardware? I mean, you have to wonder, right? Do these weapons, which look great on a parade ground or perform perfectly in a controlled test, have some kind of systemic flaw when you put them under the incredible stress and strain of a real live battlefield? And this is where things get, well, a lot more concerning, because this isn't the first time we're hearing stories like this, not by a long shot. If you remember back in May 2025, during the India-Pakistan conflict, we started hearing reports about performance issues with Chinese systems that Pakistan was using. And now, just a few months later, we have this, a confirmed, videotaped catastrophic failure in Cambodia. Suddenly, this starts to look a lot less like a coincidence and a lot more like a pattern. The fallout from this war, and especially from these questions about equipment reliability, goes way beyond just the wreckage on the battlefield. There's a massive human and strategic cost that we have to talk about.
This escalating violence has created a huge humanitarian crisis. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, civilians on both sides of that border who've been forced to just pack up and run, leaving their homes behind. It's creating a massive refugee crisis in the region.
So let's just put all the pieces together for a second. You've got a massive humanitarian crisis that's just spiraling. You've got a total diplomatic failure. I mean, even China, which is Cambodia's main arms dealer, is calling for a ceasefire and getting ignored. And on top of all that, you have the strategic problem. Countries that have spent billions of dollars on these weapons are now having to ask themselves, is this stuff actually going to work when we really need it to?
And that really leaves us with a pretty sobering question to think about, doesn't it? What's the real cost of an unreliable weapon in modern war? The price isn't just measured in money. It's paid for with the lives of soldiers, it's paid for in how battles are won or lost, and ultimately, it's paid for in a country's national security. So what do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, please do us a huge favor and hit that like button, share it, and of course, subscribe to the Global WarWatch Network. And hey, come join the conversation on our social media channels. All the links for that are right down there in the description. We'll see you for the next one.